Hey everyone, for dinner tonight I'm going to do some burger patties and then I'm going to make kind of a mushroom gravy for them. So it'll be kind of like a Salisbury steak. Now I've done this with ground beef before, but I haven't done it with ground pork. So tonight I'm going to try using ground pork. And the interesting thing about this ground pork is this is 93% lean, and this is only 140 calories per 4 ounces. And this 93% lean ground beef is 170 calories per 4 ounces. So the pork is actually less calories than the beef. You know, I used to think of pork as being kind of a fatty meat, but the leaner cuts are actually pretty healthy. So I'm gonna make these up into patties and I'll bring you guys back. That pork is so lean, I had trouble getting it to stay together in patties. It just wants to fall apart because there's no fat to hold it together. So anyway, I seasoned that on both sides with garlic, salt, and onion powder. And the reason I made 5 patties, it's just me and my wife, but she's doing Weight Watchers and everything is in 4-ounce portions. And that was 1.25 pounds of meat, so just made them into 4-ounce burgers. Now the plan is I'm going to try to crank that up and cook it at a high heat just to get a crust on both sides, and then I'm going to pull them out and make my gravy. I just flipped those over, but they're so lean they were kind of sticking to the pan. Alright, those actually browned up pretty nice. I'm not sure if they're completely cooked through, but that's what I want, because after I make the gravy, I'm going to put them back in the gravy and let them finish cooking in the gravy. But you can see I have some nice drippings there, and that'll give the gravy some flavor. So now I'm going to get ready to make my gravy here. Alright, I measured out 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of flour. Now, I really don't measure most of the time, but for gravy, you kind of want equal parts fat and flour. And the other thing too is my wife's doing the Weight Watchers, so if I just start dumping a bunch of flour and butter in there, kind of defeats the purpose of having some really lean meat. You know, if you just make a bunch of calories of flour and butter. So then we just kind of let this brown. So I have it on a low heat. I don't want it to burn. I just want that flour to kind of brown a little bit. And that, when it browns like that, it kind of takes the that doughy taste out of it. You just want that flour to cook a little bit. See how it's starting to brown up a little bit? That's what you want. But you don't want too much heat. You don't want it to burn. Okay. Now start adding in water, just a little at a time. And see how it's all lumpy looking now? The more it cooks down and the more I stir it, those lumps will start to work their way out. And when you're doing this, you got to kind of just stay with it. You don't want to go off and do anything else because you'll end up burning it and screwing it up. So gravy is kind of a you can't leave it kind of thing. Alright, I'm just going to keep stirring this just like I'm doing and adding more water, and I'll bring you guys back in just a little bit. Alright, I've been adding water and the consistency of the gravy is looking pretty good here, but I tasted it and it's really bland. It has no flavor. So I'm going to season it with some onion powder, and one of these chicken bouillon cubes. I'm just going to crumble that up in there. That'll give it flavor. Chicken bouillon is good for giving stuff flavor. But the consistency is starting to look pretty good. See how those lumps are out of there now? It's getting pretty smooth. Just been smashing them with my handy fish spatula here. I like this thing. I use it a lot. I think we'll go with just a little bit more water. Okay, we're looking pretty good. I think we can put our mushrooms in now. Get in there, guys. Okay. Now, I'll just keep kind of stirring around, and I'm gonna let those mushrooms cook down. Then I'll bring you guys back and we'll put the meat back in there. All right, this is starting to look good now. Let's taste it now and see if we have some flavor. Oh yeah, that's good. I'm not sure how much water I put in there. I didn't really measure it out. I'm guessing probably about 3 cups. Okay, those mushrooms are starting to cook down, so I'm going to put the meat back in there now. There we are. Dump all that juice in. That's just juice. That's not even fat. Pork is so lean. I think this pork would be kind of bland on its own because it's so lean, but it should be good in this gravy, I think. That looks pretty darn good. That pork's probably been in there about a couple minutes now. And I don't want to cook it too much because it's so lean it'll probably dry it out. So I think I'll just shut this off. And that cast iron will hold the heat. It'll just kind of finish cooking on its own. Okay, I have some red potatoes boiling and some broccoli steaming to go along with this, but like I said, I haven't tried this with the pork, so I just want to taste the pork right quick and see how it is. It's really good. Like I said, that pork is so lean it would be a little dry without that gravy, but that's really good. That gravy gives it a lot of flavor. All right. Thanks for watching, you guys. Talk to you next time.